All right, so are you ready to dive into something kind of crazy that's happening right now?
Always. Lay it on me.
Okay, so you know how everyone's talking about the TikTok ban, right? And like, what's going to happen if it actually does get banned?
Yeah, for sure. Big question mark right now.
Well, while some people are like frantically searching for the next big American app, to fill the void.
Right, gotta keep those dance videos coming.
Exactly. But others are doing something totally unexpected.
Oh, do tell. Color me intrigued.
They're jumping ship to, wait for it, a Chinese app.
Whoa, seriously. Which one?
It's called Zanggu, or Little Red Book if you're in China.
Zangu, huh? I've heard whispers about it, but haven't really looked into it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's like, you'd think American users would just like naturally gravitate to a homegrown alternative.
Right, something familiar, comfortable.
But nope, they're choosing a platform from, a completely different cultural and political context. It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, that raises some eyebrows for sure. So the big question is why? Why Zangu? And what does this move say about, where social media is headed?
Exactly. That's what we're going to unpack today. We've got tons of articles, user comments, even some cultural analysis pieces.
Oh, cool. Sounds like we're going deep on this one.
Deep dive is our middle name.
Love it.
Mhm.
So what have you seen in the sources so far? Any clues as to what's driving this Zangu exodus?
Well, one of the biggest things that keeps popping up is this, like, growing distrust of the American tech giants, the usual suspects.
Makes sense. I mean, especially Meta, right? Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. But, like, distrust in what way? I mean, don't people already know those platforms collect tons of data?
I think they do, but it's one thing to kind of know it, you know, intellectually, and it's another to actually feel it.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Like, it's one thing to read about data breaches and stuff.
Yeah, it's all kind of abstract until...
Until it feels personal, like that creepy feeling that, everything you do is being tracked. Exactly. And monetized. It's like they're not just users anymore, they're products.
Products, wow. Harsh but true.
Yeah, and some of these user comments, they say it straight up. They feel like products, not people on these platforms.
So they're just looking for an alternative where they feel more like in control, more human.
Yeah, and some seem to think they've found that in Zangu, at least in part.
Okay, so less about being manipulated and more about like being a participant, not just a data point.
Right. And Zangu's interface really plays into that. It's strikingly similar to TikTok, so it's an easy switch.
Familiar, so less intimidating.
But there's something else at play here that I think is really interesting. Cultural context.
Cultural context, like what do you mean?
Well, China's known for, its tight grip on the internet.
Oh yeah, definitely. Lots of controls, censorship.
Right. So for some American users, choosing Zangu might be less about, embracing Chinese culture and more about...
More about like sticking it to the man.
Yeah, there's definitely some of that rebellious spirit in the comments. I guess if you're going to be subject to someone's rules.
Might as well be someone you already don't trust, right?
It's like this weird reverse psychology approach to online freedom,
I mean, some users literally say they feel they can express themselves more freely on Zangu because, well...
Because it's not their own government they have to worry about.
Exactly. Isn't that wild? It kind of makes you wonder, are American users starting to feel stifled on their own platforms?
Even if it's not like outright censorship, maybe there's this creeping feeling of, I don't know.
A shrinking space for certain voices, certain ideas.
Yeah, maybe.
So we have distrust of the big guys, this ironic quest for freedom. And then there's this other element that I really didn't see coming.
Oh, you got to tell me. What else is in the mix?
Well, one name keeps popping up in relation to Zangu that, well, you wouldn't expect. May Musk.
May Musk. Wait, Elon Musk's mom. What's she doing on a Chinese social media platform?
That's the fascinating part. She's not there to plug Tesla or anything like that.
What is she doing then?
It seems she's actually connecting with Chinese audiences, like on a personal level, sharing her experiences, as a model, a dietitian, a mom.
Whoa, that's so unexpected.
I know, right? It's almost like she's single-handedly challenging the stereotype of what a Chinese platform is all about.
And it makes you wonder, if someone like May Musk is finding an audience there, what else are people discovering? What's the real draw?
Well, that brings us to another really interesting theme that keeps emerging from the sources, and that's connection. That seems to be the real heart of the matter.
Connection. But isn't that what, like, every social media platform is supposed to be about? What makes Zangu different?
You're totally right. Connection is the common thread. But I think the kind of connection that people are craving is changing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. Like, how so?
Well, think about Facebook and Instagram. They've gotten so focused on, like, self-promotion, you know?
Yeah, it's all about the perfect photos, the perfect life.
Right. Curated perfection and this constant chase for likes and followers.
It's exhausting.
Totally.
Yeah.
And for a lot of users, it's just not fulfilling anymore. They want something more genuine, more authentic, more real.
And they think they're finding that on Zango.
It seems like it.
Yeah.
The Zangu content that's getting the most attention, it's less about showing off and more about sharing experiences, connecting over shared interests, even finding support.
So it's less about the highlight reel and more about, like, just being real.
Exactly. And I think this shift towards authenticity, it's also tied to like a growing awareness of the mental health toll that these, hyper-curated platforms can have.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That constant comparison game is brutal.
It can really mess with your self-esteem.
Totally. It's like, who needs that pressure?
And that's where Zango is interesting. It feels more relaxed, less performative.
Yeah, like you can just be yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the sources, they really point to that. There's a real sense of community in the Zangu content, people connecting over shared values, not just vying for attention.
You know, it's funny you say that because one of the things that really struck me in our research was that story about the kidney transplant that was like facilitated through TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
It's a powerful reminder that for all its flaws, social media can be a force for good.
Absolutely. And I think that story speaks to the bigger picture with this whole Zangu thing.
How so?
Well, it's not just about ditching American tech giants,
Right.
Or even about, that ironic quest for freedom we were talking about. It's about something deeper.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's about connecting with people, sharing experiences, and finding a sense of belonging, especially in a world that can feel, pretty isolating.
Yeah, for sure. Especially now with everything that's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you were talking about this digital diaspora earlier, and it's like, it's not just about moving to a different platform. It's about moving to a different mindset.
Oh, I like that. It's about seeking a new way of being online, one that prioritizes authenticity and connection.
Yeah, finding your tribe.
And maybe Zangu is offering a glimpse of what that could look like.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
And, this is all happening at a time when the lines between, like, the real world and the digital world are blurring.
True, true. We're more connected than ever, but we're also looking for deeper connections.
Right. And that raises some big questions.
Like what?
Well, like, will these established platforms, the Facebooks and Instagrams of the world, will they adapt?
Or will we see totally new players emerge that, like, get it from the start?
It's a real crossroads for the whole industry.
Yeah, it feels like we're on the verge of something new.
It's exciting,
Yeah.
but also kind of daunting.
How so?
Well, because if we're all migrating to these different tribes online,
Oh, right. Echo chamber.
yeah, how do we make sure we're not just reinforcing our own biases? How do we stay open to different perspectives?
That's the million-dollar question. So where do we even go from here? What can we do? I mean, it's kind of scary, right? Like, what if all this just leads to more division, more echo chambers?
Yeah, that's the fear, isn't it?
Yeah.
But when I look at all these sources you've gathered, you know what strikes me?
What's
This whole Zangu thing, it's not just about, like, escaping or finding something new. It's about wanting more.
more, huh? More than just like endless scrolling and shallow connections.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's this real hunger for something meaningful. Like, their online interactions should actually matter.
I feel that. It's like people are tired of just being consumers. They want to create, they want to connect, they want to contribute.
Exactly. So maybe this isn't just a platform shift. Maybe it's a chance to redefine what social media can be.
Okay, I like that. But how do we actually get there? Like, is it on the platforms to change? Or is it on us, the users?
Honestly, I think it's both. The platforms, they need to create spaces that encourage healthy interactions. Put user well-being first. But we have a responsibility too.
Yeah, like we can choose to support platforms that align with our values.
Exactly. And be more intentional about what we consume and what we share.
And make an effort to connect with people who are different from us, right? People who challenge our thinking.
Yes. Couldn't have said it better myself. It's like we're all building this digital world together, whether we realize it or not.
Wow, yeah. And the choices we make, they determine what that world looks like. It's kind of empowering, but also a little overwhelming.
I know what you mean. We could create something amazing, but we could also just recreate the same problems we see offline.
It's a lot to think about. I guess that's what makes these deep dives so interesting, right?
Totally. It's not just about following trends. It's about asking the big questions.
Yeah, about the future of connection, about how we relate to each other in this digital age.
Exactly. And that's a conversation we all need to be having. So to everyone listening out there, think about what you're looking for online. What kind of connections do you want? What kind of impact do you want to make?
Are you using these platforms in a way that feels good, in a way that reflects your values?
Those are the questions that matter. And the answers will help you find your way in this crazy digital world. And maybe even help us build something better together.